In this life, there are moments when we feel a shift in things. We leave a moment different from when we entered it. These moments make us who we are. Let's talk about them.
So we got on today to talk about men, even though this podcast is usually about women. But it's a little funny because it's not really about other men, it's about how we pretended to be men.
Who knew that we had that little tie that was
Bizarre.
exactly the same?
I was just thinking, I'm like, we don't have normal things in common. Like we like the same music. It's I pretended to be a man once. Oh, me too. Me too.
Doesn't everybody have that story? No?
They
Just
pretended to be a
us.
man? We're gonna find out because now I'm curious. We kinda did it for different reasons, though, and
I
I wanna
mean,
hear about
yeah.
your reason or how this came about.
Okay, so my story about dressing like a man, first one,
It
can I just
also
laugh that
connects to the name of this
I can't believe I
podcast,
just
Cary.
said that. Wait, I can't believe I just said that. My story about dressing like a man.
Becoming it was more than dressing like a man, Cary, you became a man.
I did, but I don't think it's the same level as you. And so for the listeners, I have heard, like, a little bit of the story, but I don't know the whole depth of it, so this is a little bit of surprise. We kinda kept it of a surprise today, so I'm pretty stoked about this. I'm trying to not have, like, too many expectations, but I can't wait.
Just know I just wanna know if you can follow along. Most people are like, "Wait, what?" It's hard to
Mhm.
follow, but hopefully I can tell it in a way today that makes sense, because if you were there, it was totally wild. So hopefully we can tell that story. But I wanna know about you being a man.
Okay, let me take you back a few years, probably, like, almost a decade now, actually. It all started when I worked at my last one of my last jobs, and while working at this job, I married to my husband, and I went from a Polish last name to my new last name, which is Pinch. And when I got married, I thought, "Oh my god, this is the best because people have screwed up my name for my entire life, my last name, right?
Mhm.
And actually even my first name. You wouldn't believe how many times I get Casey or Corey or Cassandra. I mean, you would be astonished at how many names I
Oh my
get that is
gosh.
not just Cary. Okay, so fine, whatever. So I was stoked, like, totally stoked, like, Pinch is my last name. Who the hell is gonna mess that up, right?
Yep. It's
Turns
a it's
out
a
many
word.
people.
It's a
Turns out
regular
it's many
word.
people. It's
Oh my
many, many
gosh.
people. So, for those, listening, you'll also hear the story of how I became Finch of Finch and Sparrow. Did you know that when you talk on the phone to people in customer service, Pinch actually sounds like Finch? And that is how I became the Finch of Finch and Sparrow. But what I didn't expect is that people were gonna royally screw up my first name too, because Carrie actually sounds like Terry on the phone to many, 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 many people. Many
So you
people.
were this is when you were calling people and introducing yourself
Yeah,
kind of a
I'm like,
thing? Yeah.
"Okay," leaving messages like, "Okay, I call this number, I'm Carrie Pinch," 'cause there was several Carries, so it was fine, like, not
Okay.
several, there was 2 of us. So, it was easy for me to just say Carrie Pinch. It wasn't my Polish last name anymore either, so I was like, "Cool, Carrie Pinch, easy, done. This is awesome. Might as well be John Smith," super simple. And what me and my, old coworker Sharon kept finding out was that people were calling me Terry Finch. And so they would call me asking for Terry Finch, and I was like,
They don't work here.
"Carrie? It's Carrie Pinch. I'm Carrie Pinch." And then I was also questioning, like, do I sound like a boy to them? Or do I sound like a girl to them? Not that it really matters, but also I was started to go down this road of, like, how does my voice sound? How does
Terry
my
is a
voice
girl's
sound?
name, though. Terry
It
is a
can
girl's
be,
name.
but so can Carrie. Carrie is a boy's name just as much as
Mhm.
a girl's.
Yeah.
So, especially the way I spell it. So, Sharon and I just kept joking around, talking about this random person that worked in the office called Terry Finch.
Blame it all on
Eh
Terry Finch.
yeah, we're like, "Oh, it must be Terry Finch," and we joked and joked and joked and joked. Well, I got the last laugh because on Halloween one year, I decided to dress as my own alter ego, Terry Finch. So I decided because we Sharon and I would joke back and forth all the time about, like, "Who is this person? What
Yeah.
is this person like? La, 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 la." So we ended up making Terry Finch out to be this, like, hipster coffee shop dude who had, like, a giant mustache and wore, like, scarves and flannels And so I ended up, and we have to include the pictures on the post when we put this out
Yes.
because I, sorry, it just makes me laugh as I think about it because I was so ridiculous. And I even had like the black glasses, you know?
Oh my
So
gosh, the
imagine
hipster
me.
glasses.
Yeah, so I had a flannel shirt on, this really beautiful black scarf with silver, like, writing on it. It was actually, like, a Zelda scarf from, like, some loot crate or something we opened, and then I had this, like, beanie hat, you know, the ones that sit on the
Mhm,
back of your head, and so I had a little bit of
mhm.
my hair sticking out, and my hair's always been, like, short. I mean, this is, like, long for me right now, but chin length, right? So I could easily manipulate it to, like, look like,
Yeah, and dudes
a
have all
dude.
sorts
Dude.
of hair lengths, so yeah.
Yeah, too yeah, I mean, we live in a
Especially
different
hipster
time
dude.
now. Yeah.
You didn't do a
So,
man bun. Okay, keep going.
I should have. Dang it, missed opportunity. So anyways, flannel, scarf, cool beanie hat. I was purposely went out and bought that hat, by the way, because I definitely didn't have one. Big ol' like, black glasses, and then this giant I really wanted just, like, a really cool, like I wanted, like, a good mustache, like, not one that was super cheap, not, like, drawing a line with like, I wanted it to not look real, but, like, full. You know, I thought Terry is a distinguished individual no matter what. He
He's got
prides
a lot of
himself on his
mustache.
appearance. Yeah, like, this is his vibe, and so I wasn't able to find one. So I found an outrageous mustache instead that's like Yosemite Sam. It, like, was so huge, it went all over my face and had this big curl. Best day ever, though. Best day ever. So that's me. I'm Terry Finch, and this is how I got here. So Finch has been my name ever since. It's actually carried what's even funnier is I told my kids this story one time, and my son told his friends at school. I don't know if I've told you this before. So he told his friends at school, and now he is a Finch. People refer to him as Finch. He has this like character that
Oh,
he uses with his friends where he's like a bird and his name is Flutter. And so what they started calling him, which was the best name ever, and I have to put it out there to the kids down the street that came up with this because it is so smart. They started calling him Leonardo da Vinci. I mean, of
oh,
all
that's
the names
awesome.
those kids coulda come up with, they call
Mhm.
him Leonardo da Vinci, and I
That's
was like,
solid.
"That is, like, the most amazing name that anybody could get." I don't think that there's any nickname better. So, they do have other names for him, do you know, they all
Mhm.
as they grow up, they call each other different things, but yeah, so I ended up going as Terry Finch, and many times I still get calls for whatever reason where
Yeah,
people think that's my name, so nothing really eventful other than the legacy lives on, but sidebar, there was a commercial with oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. He's the Hispanic actor who was in Machete and, like, Cheech and Chong. I can't think of his name right now.
I don't
But
know.
ironically, there's a video. I have a screenshot somewhere out there where oh, god, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Danny dang it. Anyways, there was a commercial where he was in I think it was like a car commercial or insurance commercial where he's dressed like a hipster and he looks just like Terry Finch. And so there's like a side by side that I did somewhere out there and I'm like, "Oh my god, I look just like him."
You
Except
did it.
I'm a
So,
lady and
did you surprise your colleague with this?
oh my god, they died laughing. They just died laughing. Like the ones that were in on the joke got it. And then as I explained it to the other ones, they thought it was hilarious. Like, so it ended up being like a whole thing. So sometimes I use Terry Finch as, you know, an alter
I
ego.
would. Yeah,
Yeah.
blame it on Terry. They're
Yeah.
like, "Who the
Why
hell
not?
didn't put the food away last night?" It must have been Terry. Terry's
Must have been
such a
Terry Finch.
bum.
And sometimes my husband will even bring it. So it was just like a good that was like and I'm totally into Halloween, so for it
I
to be a
know.
Halloween event just puts
That
the
was
icing
great.
on the cake.
That was
Mhm.
great. Okay, so my escapade as a man lasted a little longer than that. Though it started out as it was only supposed to be a day or like a moment.
Okay.
It was not supposed to last this long. But as things go with me, sometimes things get out of control. So, but in the end, I received this letter from my professor because when I pretended to be a man in college, it was Not just me joking around for Halloween. It was me literally playing a man for a college course. So this
Hmm.
is a letter I received from my professor. It's dated April 26, 2001. So throwback. We're going back in time, guys. 24 years ago. It says, Dear
So was this
April,
the end of this? This is the end of the
the
semester or the end
semester.
of the
Yep.
class? Okay, go
This
ahead.
was the end of the semester. It says, Dear April, you and Carlos did this one together. Thanks for all the extra work and for adding such fun and mystery to this course and for such feats of imagination. You have some special gifts, and I was delighted we can make room for them and see them flourish. 4.0, McWhirter. So I stumbled upon this letter the other day. I'm like, oh my gosh, Carlos Lee. And I got a freaking 4.0 in a very difficult class. It should have been an 8.0 because I did the work of two people. Because not only did I play a man, I played myself in the class.
Oh
It's a
my
whole thing.
gosh.
It's a
Okay.
whole thing. So
I'm
this
trying not to
guy,
interrupt. I can't wait.
I know. I know. So this guy was my professor, and he actually was my favorite professor in school. I went to Michigan State, and it's a big school, so a lot of your classes are larger, but this was in the J school or the journalism school. So you have smaller classes because it's with people in your major. So my roommate, Beth, who's also a journalism major, had taken class with him, magazine writing. She's like, oh my gosh, April, you have to take class with this guy. He's wild, he's cool, and it's just fun. So I signed up. This was my second class with him. I ended up taking 3 classes with him.
Hmm.
This one was magazine writing class, part 2, I guess. The first one was also magazine writing. So it started out as me calling his bluff on a joke that I was convinced he was playing on us because he is a trickster. Um,
Hmm.
Beth told me this. Beth told me she's like, 2 things you need to know about this guy before the first day of your first class. He's a prankster, and you may never miss class or be late unless you want to be crucified. He abides none
Wow.
of that. Okay. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm the queen of late, and I miss class because that's what I do. And I'm working all these jobs, working my way through school, but I'll be on time. So I remember the first class with him. I got there like 10 minutes early just to make sure I was on time. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And the professor doesn't come in the class. I'm like, am I in the right class? Yes, I'm in the right class. He doesn't show up. This other old dude comes in the class wearing like a fedora and he's looking for Professor McWhirter. And we're all like, we haven't seen him. And I'm like, dude must be dead because he don't miss
Mhm.
class.
Mhm.
So this guy is just standing around. He's looking at us and we're looking at him. And we're like, what the hell do we do? Because we're not running this class. So the guy's like, well, he wanted me to come and talk to you about being a journalist. So I guess I'll do that because I don't really have time to come back another day. So we're like, okay, whatever, buddy. So he just starts doing his thing, telling us all about his life as some famed journalist, Seymour Worth. I don't even remember his name, but I knew the name. And I was
Wait a
like, oh,
minute. Seymour Worth was the name?
no, I gotta. Hirsch, maybe?
If
He was a
Seymour Worth was
famous Seymour Hirsch. He was a famous
okay,
journalist. Or Ed
because Seymour
Morrow.
Worth would be the most okay. I was like, that's the
That is
most
a funny
hilarious.
name.
That should
Not
have
him.
been like the giveaway, like Seymour Worth in what I'm
Seymour Worth.
doing right now.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No, or his name, he was from Gannett, or I can't even
Hirsch.
remember. It
No,
was
yeah,
some
that's okay.
dude. And he's just starting to tell us his story, and I'm listening. I'm like, all right, this is great. And then he starts getting a little more maniacal, a little more intense, a little more maniacal.
Mm.
And then he stops talking. And he's got this weird affectation, this weird, like, New Yorker accent or something. I don't even know.
Mm.
And then he stops talking and he looks at us. And we look at him. And we're like, what the hell's going on? It was McWhirter pretending to be some random news reporter guy from the 50s who was dead apparently at this point, but I
Oh
didn't know
my
that.
gosh, it's so weird.
And he was like having the best time. He came in with his trench coat and this weird fedora and this weird, maybe Cockney accent, maybe? I don't remember. But I was just like, so pissed, Cary. I shouldn't have been pissed. It was a good joke, but I'm like, you
You're
fucking
pissed
tricked
because
us.
he got you. He
Yeah.
got you.
You tricked us, and I thought I had you because you never miss class. I'm like, dude, miss class? Whatever. Now I can miss class. I don't know, but I was so pissed. I remember I came home like, Beth, you don't believe what he did. She goes, oh, that's totally what he'd do. So anyways, this is the kind of guy we're working with, Cary. So
Mhm.
then roll into second magazine class that I'm with him. And again, I know now to never be late and never miss a class. And second week of class rolls around. It's the second week of class, Cary, and you have gone to college, right? And you've taken classes and you know how this works. This guy shows up in class. He's this tall black kid and he sits down. And McWhorter is like, who are you? He goes, I'm John. I just joined the class. I'm here. And he's like, you weren't here last week. He goes, well, I just picked it up. Like my schedule got all kooky. I got rearranged and now I'm here. And in college, you can do that, but not for McWhorter. So McWhorter looks at him and he's like, get out. And the guy's like, what? Are you for real? And he's like, yeah, you weren't here last week. You can't be in my class. And he's like, but I just added, I didn't know I could be here last week because I didn't have the class. He's like, leave. And he kicked this dude out, Cary. He kicked him out. So I'm sitting there waiting for the punchline because he was like this black guy. And I'm like, ooh, is this the thing about being racist? Like, is he going to make a statement? And haha, it was a trick and this guy's in our
Mhm.
class, but we're just joking with each other. Nothing. Nothing. He freaking kicked this kid out of our class. And I was like, okay, I don't understand this guy at all. Because I thought he was a practical joker, but then he
How
kicks
can you
this.
do that in a college?
He did
I
it.
just don't
I know.
wow.
I know, Kara. I never saw that
The
guy again.
power.
And I thought that's not legal because this kid, he didn't
Not
even
even
have the class.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that they would
Maybe the kid didn't want to
do that.
fight it because he's like, I don't want to be in a class with this guy. He's going to be an asshole. So anyways,
Yeah.
so he pulls that stunt, and then 2 weeks after that, he waltzes into class. And in this magazine class, we are writing essays and reading them aloud to our peers. There's like 18 of us in the class. We're
Mhm.
reading them aloud and critiquing, saying, oh, I liked that part. That part needs work, or, giving all this feedback.
Mhm.
So in he rolls, and he says, guys, we have a new student in our class. He is a virtual student. You won't meet him, but he's going to email me his assignments. And his name is Carlos Lee. And I'm just like, the fuck is this? So I go home and I tell my roommate Beth, I'm like, you won't believe what he did today. He's telling us there's this new kid in the class. And P.S. It's 2001, guys. Virtual is not a thing. I was like,
Yeah.
how the hell? That's not even an option. But
Uh-huh.
he's telling us this. So I'm like, Beth, what the hell is he doing? Because he just kicked that black guy out who's 2 weeks ago. And now a new kid
Mhm.
comes in. And Beth's like, I know what he's doing. He wants you guys to critique his work. He's going to write as Carlos Lee, and he's going to read it for the whole class. And he's going to get tickled when you guys say, oh, this is so amazing. Look at this man's writing. Because he used to write for
Mm.
Time Magazine and stuff.
Ah.
He's a legit dude. I was like, oh, no, he don't. Oh, no, he don't. So then I marched right over to the computer. We had these big, giant, remember the computers in the early aughts?
Was it a Mac with the
In the middle of our living
year?
room.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, so I marched right over and I opened up my Hotmail browser and I made Carlos Lee 19 at hotmail.com. And I emailed that professor because I was like, checkmate, fucker. I know what you're up to.
Wow. There's so much ambition in this story already. Okay, number one, I'm learning about you because I already know this about you, but I didn't realize how deep it goes. Number one, the second you found out that he was a jokester and he tricked you, even though you knew it was coming, you got mad. And then the second time you knew the joke was coming, you got even right away. And I don't even know how the story is going to go next, but damn, girl, I didn't realize how deep it runs.
Well, I was egged on by my two roommates, Beth and Amanda. They were
Mm.
fantastic comrades in this. So Beth's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, And so I was like, all right, he's going to get this email and he's going to know someone in the class called his bluff. What's he going to do? So that was as far as I thought my Carlos Lee moment was going to be. It was that moment. And he was going to respond like, gotcha. Don't tell anyone, but I'm doing a prank. And he writes back and he says, Carlos, it's so great to hear from you. I loved your first assignment. This looks like you're standing on both legs now. He's making all these weird comments. And he's like, okay, here's your second assignment. And I'm like, what the hell? There was no first assignment. What is this second assignment? Oh, shit. Well, I can't back out now. I can't back out now.
Oh my God, April, your Sagittarius is showing. Go ahead.
So I'm like, Beth and Amanda, he might be calling my bluff. This might be a triple trick. I don't even know at this point what level of trickery is happening. But he's called my bluff, and now we have to create Carlos Lee. So
Sorry, I just think this is so awesome.
I know.
Go ahead.
So before we get to work, because I don't like being tricked, I didn't want to trick my class. So I emailed the entire class. I said, guys, McWhorter, I think, is trying to pretend to be Carlos Lee so we can, like.
So you told them what your other friend
Yeah.
told you, Beth, right?
Yeah,
And
I
you
said,
gave them the
I told them, I
like,
said,
what up?
we're pulling this on McWhorter. I said, he wants us to gush over his work, but no, I'm taking away his power. I'm Carlos Lee. So when
I'm
you guys hear stuff in
dethroning
class,
the king of journalism.
so he can't write these articles and help us like critique them. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So I let them all in on the joke, and they were all like, "Oh my gosh, yes, get him!" And I remember this guy named, his last name was like Ronikowski. Anyways, he was the biggest cheerleader. Like, yeah, go April, go get him. And everyone was like, let's do this. Except for the one guy in the class who I thought would find this the most humorous, because I knew him the most. I didn't really know him that well at all, but we worked at the State News together, which is a school paper, and I think we had some classes. But there's this guy named Jeff who's always laughing at things. He had a fantastic laugh. He got a kick out of things. And so he was not like, go get him, April. I'm like, and I think he and I had that first class together too. So he knew what this guy was all about. But whatever. So then I had to come up with this alter ego, just like you had to come up with who is Terry Finch. I had to be like, who's Carlos Lee? And Beth and Amanda were like, we got this. Let's do it. So we had to make it so dramatic, so like soap opera that McWhorter would know that we were pulling his leg, like they were going over the top. So I created
I
basically
mean, you don't think he already knew that? You literally made an email. You literally called his bluff and were acceptant of,
but
like,
he'd have to
letter or-
read it to the class. He'd have to pass this off.
Oh, okay, now I understand.
And how
Okay.
the hell is he going to excuse this student who just is over the top? So I created the opposite of me. So Carlos Lee, in my whole life, I have been, I'm a tall woman, so I always feel a little like like I stick out. And I always run into like angst and situations with being a tall female. So he's a short male. He's only 5'8". So he's got a little chip on his shoulder because he's small. I grew up rural Michigan. So Carlos was born and raised in the city of Detroit, like right by Mexican town. I am from I guess you call it nuclear family with 2 white parents. Carlos' mother was Mexican and his dad was black. His mother was Catholic. I don't know what his dad was. And it was this whole dramatic story of when he was a kid.
You really went deep.
Oh,
when
yeah.
You're,
Because
when you're
he
assessing,
wants to know who Carlos is.
This is so dramatic, and I love
He's
it. And
this like
I am the most
biracial
dramatic
kid.
person.
He's this biracial kid who grew up without a dad because his parents had a forced annulment when they were young. And his mother always went to Detroit Tigers games because that was where she met and fell in love with his dad. And it's where she was happy. The story basically was about his mom, how his mom met this man and fell in love. Her strict Catholic parents said, yo, he's not Catholic. I don't think so. He bounced, and she was never happy again, except for when she went to Detroit Tigers games at Tiger Stadium, where she just always hoped she'd see him again, and she took Carlos, and Carlos was like, the only time my mother was happy was at Tiger Stadium. And that year happened to be the year that Comerica Park was opening. And so the story was he took her to Comerica Park, but the magic was gone because it wasn't Tiger Stadium anymore.
Oh my god.
And so he's like, my mother aged. And it was like this whole dramatic thing, okay?
That is dramatic, like a soap opera, like you said. This
And
is so in-depth. I'm so impressed.
But you need to know some of this background for the rest of the story.
Yeah,
We won't go into as much for the rest, but there's this whole piece. So Beth
I
and
actually want to know all about Carlos Lee. So even if you told me the whole background, I would just be like, yeah?
Oh, yeah. And everything we wrote was tinged in reality because that's how I write. So it was,
Yeah.
true things happening. Just you throw in this guy named Carlos Lee who loved baseball, but only because his mom did, because she wanted to find her old lover and she never did. So
Wow.
I write this piece, and Professor McWhirter eats it up. He is like delighted. He reads it to the class. He is so like, oh my gosh, Carlos Lee. And the class is like laughing hysterically because they know that
Mhm.
he don't know that I know that I'm Carlos Lee. Okay. And
Mm.
they probably are looking at me like, girlfriend is not biracial or short or any of this stuff. So it was like an opposite character.
I'm just surprised, like, so do you think, like, looking back, that he knew that you knew that they knew, like, that you told them? Did I make that more confusing? Do you think he knew that you told them all? Because in that kind of scenario, when you're listening to someone's backstory about sappy, like, Tigers game and my mom was
Yes.
never happy again
My
and all
my
that.
40-year-old mother aged that day, and I'm like,
Oh,
"She's
Lord.
40."
Oh
She
my
did
god.
not
Well,
age.
you coulda left that part out. But but, like, for the whole class to be laughing and then not be sympathetic about it, I mean, he had to know.
Or they
Do you
loved
think
it.
looking back?
No, because when you hear the story, Carrie, you'll be like, "Holy shit, this is why he had no fucking clue. This is why he
Wow,
had no
okay,
clue." Because
okay.
this is like, so I do it, I read it to the class, 4 stars, no edits, because he always has edits. I was winning. I'm like, "This is perfect." So then, of course, though, because he was so excited, he gave me another assignment and another assignment and emails back and forth while I'm doing my own assignments. I'm writing my own stories for this class as April Teague, okay? I'm
Mhm,
also working my way through college to pay my bills because I have to. I think I had 2 jobs at the time. Full
mhm.
course load. I was an active volunteer in, like, my faith group. Also, that was the semester that I took magazine writing, 2nd edition, and
Mhm.
creative writing. So at one
Oh, so
point, I
you're
got
just
my assignments
writing.
mixed up. Yeah,
Oh,
lots of
no.
so
Mhm,
I ended up handing in my creative writing assignment to McWhirter and McWhirter's assignment to the creative writing person. Both professors loved them, but then I came home and I told Beth, I'm like, "McWhirter loved my piece." And she's like, "Which one?" I was like, "The one about this." And she goes, "That's not a real story, April." I was like, "Oh, shit." So then I had to
oh,
tell him
no.
I wrote a fake story. He was pissed. But he
Mhm.
let me redo it because he's
Oh,
usually
okay.
very stringent. But I'm like, "McWhirter, I have 2 different classes. Like, here I literally did the assignment on time. I just gave it to the wrong teacher." So that was what I was dealing with, and he keeps handing me these damn assignments, Carrie, for Carlos, and he's just blitzed.
So,
And,
wait, was Carlos's assignments the same as the class? So, were you
um,
doubling up, or was it just, like, completely different assignment?
they seem to be different, and the ones I found in
Oh my
my
god.
pile,
Mhm.
because I never had to write an origin story. Who's Carlos Lee?
Wait,
Who's
did you have
April
to
Teague?
hand type you did typed it?
Typed it. But
Well,
he
thank
would
god.
we
Imagine if
had
you had to hand write in a whole different kind of, like,
We had a
you
plan,
know
Carrie. We had a
Oh
plan
my
because at one point, um, he had to describe his roommate that he lived with, which was a friend of ours who's this totally eccentric redheaded
Mhm,
dude.
mhm.
And he would say things like, "Oh, will you hand the assignment in person or put it in my office or whatever?" We had this whole plan like, "Oh my gosh, we have to drop this off to him without him seeing us do it." And
Mm.
so I think maybe JB once actually dropped it off, but I remember us being in the hallway looking around the corner like, "Is he in his office hours? Is he gonna see? Is he gonna know? Who?" It can't be Beth handing it in because
This is
he
like
knows
a
that we're
full-time
friends.
job. This is a
Yes!
full-time job.
It was fun though because we were tricking a professor.
Great movies about, just so you know, like, this would be included in, like, Legally Blonde 4 or whatever
I
it's
don't know
like.
if anyone can follow this one. So so I'm dying. I'm dying. And I'm like, I don't know I can't keep up with this workload, but then I get my break. I get my break. Um, it is an interview piece. Professor McWhirter comes in and he says, "Guys, our next assignment is we're going to draw names from the hat and we're going to interview each other and write a little biography or a little essay on the person you draw."
Mm.
So everyone go around, pull your name and say who you got. and then get in touch with them later, interview them, and write a piece. So I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh. Like, now I get to interview someone as April, interview someone as Carlos, someone is going to interview me, and someone's going to interview Carlos. I have 4 things I have to do for this one class. But
Oh my
he is
gosh.
excited. He is like, his excitement is like fever pitched because he's like, guys, Carlos's name is in the hat. Someone's going to meet Carlos Lee and interview him. And someone is going to be interviewed by Carlos. 2 of you guys are going to meet Carlos Lee. So he was just,
He set
he
you
was,
up. He tried to set you up, didn't
he
he?
was ready.
Because I
No.
mean, this could have been do you think this was a normal assignment? And then he was just,
Yeah.
like, going through really? Oh my
Yes.
gosh, this sounds like
Because this is a normal
diabolical,
kind of
like
assignment. This is a normal assignment for this kind of class.
yeah, I just feel like, "Oh, man, was he trying to catch you? Was he trying to figure out who it was?" Like, or was this,
Um,
like, the class, like, the
he
assignment?
thinks something else is going on. He does not
Mm,
have a clue that I'm
wow.
in this, okay? So,
'Cause who
he
would
also
expect you, right?
no, I'm not a man. I'm not a man,
Well,
Carrie.
not only that, but, like, there's lots of reasons, like, how could you look into your class of 18 students and, like, figure that out?
And
Like,
pick the one,
I don't know. Yeah.
the sassy one. Um, so around the room we go, we're drawing names, and no one's drawing Carlos's name. And I become convinced that McWhirter held Carlos' name back, and at the end we'll announce that he's gonna interview Carlos. He's just gonna do it. So I'm like, "Oh, shit." So I keep my poker face, which I'm pretty good at, as I draw my name, and I prepare for the hat to move on. So I open up my name, and I say, "Carlos Lee," out loud. Carrie, I drew Carlos's name. Out of 18 people, I drew Carlos's name. Okay, and other people had been drawing names at that point. It wasn't at the top. It was in there. He left it to chance. So I say, Carlos Lee, and the whole class erupts and claps and laughter because they know I'm Carlos. So they're just like, oh
What are
my
the
gosh.
chances?
I don't know, Carrie. And
I
so he is just giddy. He's looking around the class. He's like, everyone's so excited. We're going to meet Carlos, blah, blah, blah. But he doesn't know that they're laughing because they're in on this joke. He doesn't
Yeah.
even know it's a joke at this point, okay? So
Oh
the
my
hat gets to
god.
the end of the room, and he says, I will pull the name for Carlos. I'm like, all right. I forgot that Carlos has to do an assignment because I
There
thought,
needs to be a drum
okay,
roll.
like I interview Carlos, and so that's like taking a job off of me because
Mhm.
no one else is interviewing Carlos. So, and I can write
Mhm.
whatever the hell I want, right?
Right. Yeah.
With Beth and Amanda at my side. So he pulls the name, and it's Jeff Carzon, the one guy in the class who never was like, yay, go get him. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
great. Oh, great. So I'm interviewing Jeff, but that's fine because I know him.
Mhm.
Well, no. I'm interviewing Carlos. Carlos is interviewing Jeff, and some other guy is interviewing me. So, okay.
Okay.
I don't know if Jeff thinks this whole thing is funny or not. He finds everything hysterical, but he just, I was getting a weird vibe from him. So, but we have to do this. And I knew that Jeff wouldn't like rat me out or whatever. So I get to Jeff's apartment, and he's like, hey, is it you doing the interview or Carlos? And I said, I'm Carlos, you know. And he's like, okay, but I have to tell you something first. I'm actually Carlos Lee. And I was like, what? What? What do you mean you're Carlos Lee? He's like, well, you know how we had to read our articles in front of each other? McWhirter knew that I was struggling with doing that because I was just feeling self-conscious and I wasn't comfortable with people critiquing my work with my name on it. And McWhirter said, let's just make you a moniker. Make up a name, and you can write.
Oh! Are you serious?
I am serious, Carrie. He's like, make up a name, and you can write under that name, and then we'll get your true, honest responses from the class, but you won't feel like people are judging you. Perfect. And Jeff, who is a baseball fan and a sports journalist guy, Carrie, he named him Carlos Lee after his favorite baseball player.
Oh my god. So how did you
P.S.
get the Tigers thing, like, to line up? That's
P.S.
crazy.
I know. Jeff is a short man with dark curly hair. He is a Jewish guy. He is not, he's like kind of like this minority dude, just like Carlos Lee. Like everything freaking lined up with Carlos Lee. And so
did McWhirter think the whole time it was Jeff?
yes, because
Just doing extra?
Jeff did the first assignment. This was that first assignment he was talking about. He wrote it about a leg lamp.
My whole mind is blown right now.
I know.
Never expected this story to go this way. Like,
I
at
didn't
all.
either. Sitting in his apartment in 2001. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yeah.
Wow.
And that's why he was all funny about the whole thing with me, because he didn't want to tell me that he was Carlos Lee. And then this story comes out and Carlos Lee loves baseball. And he's like, Carlos Lee is a baseball player. And McWhirter knows that. So he's thinking, he gets that email from Jeff, from Carlos Lee. He thinks it's Jeff. Jeff is getting into the role, and he's made an email, carloslee19@hotmail.com. He's like, this is fantastic, Carlos. Thank you.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I was like, but Jeff, how the hell did you do your assignments then? Because I took away your name. I'm so sorry. He goes, I got my feet under me at that point, and I just submitted them myself. So he did his own assignments. So good job, Jeff. And this explains his cryptic email to me, because he said something like, you're standing on both legs now. He's like, yeah, my first article was about the leg lamp from A Christmas Story. I'm like, oh. And he says something like, you knocked it out of the park. I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. He's like, yeah, because Carlos Lee's a baseball player. He's my favorite player for the Chicago White Sox or something.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Like, what the hell are the chances? Like, and I just keep looking at all the anomalies stacking up, and it befuddles me.
It's perfectly lined up. So McWhirter's like, Jeff, I'm so delighted in this new turn of events. And Jeff's like, oh, that's not me. I didn't do that. He's like, sure, wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
He thinks it's Jeff this whole time, Cary, this whole time. And so when Carlos Lee pulls Jeff's name out of the hat, McWhirter is beside himself, because Carlos and Jeff are the same person in his mind.
Wow.
He has no idea.
I'm kind of surprised he let that go on with that, because,
he thought it was fun.
Yeah, I guess so, because then he's writing 2 papers. He doesn't know it's you. Oh, this keeps getting better.
He loves the silliness, and he loves seeing maybe Jeff write differently and exercise a different writing muscle, because we have different voices.
Else out. Yeah, wow, okay.
Okay, so I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
It just keeps getting crazier.
Yes. So thankfully, Jeff had gotten the courage at that point to write with his own name.
Your teacher's probably like, God, he really likes writing. Like, he figured it out.
Articles?
He just stepped into his power.
And he's just like doing this emotional writing about never knowing his father and stuff. So at this point, McWhirter's interest in Carlos Lee is intense. Each class, he's like, hey, April, have you talked to Carlos yet? Have you talked to Carlos? And I try to make these vague statements and stuff, but he is like poking me. He's like, where does he live?
Yeah.
What's it like? What's his apartment like? What's his personality like? And so he waits patiently as more and more students give their presentations, and I'm still interviewing Carlos and stuff, and it's not my turn yet, and he can't stand it. And so I just start making statements about, oh yeah, I met him. He's cute. And I started saying things like, oh yeah, he's got a great personality, or just like little things. And so then it's time for the reveal. And McWhirter he can't stand it. He can't stand it.
Like scratching at the walls, just cannot wait. Yeah.
April has,
and especially like I'm a low key prankster. I don't like real like hurtful pranks or anything like that. But I would be like crawling like the walls, like into, you know me, I can't even wait to I send you a present in the mail, and I'm like, check your porch.
Yes.
Check your porch. It's on your porch. Did you check your porch? Did you open it? And then
drive
you're like,
home from work.
Tomorrow.
Get it off your porch.
I know. Like, you can't open it tomorrow. I'm gonna die. Okay, go ahead.
So he this whole time is thinking, okay, April has interviewed Jeff as Carlos. April is going to read this to the class and say at the end, and Carlos Lee is Jeff. And the class will be like, whoa, what's going on? Tell us more and stuff. So he is just thrilled. But I keep saying things about Carlos being cute and stuff. So now he's probably thinking there's some sort of love connection. I'm like, oh crap.
Or you have
Carlos
some sort of mental issue.
and Jeff look alike. No, but
Yeah.
he thinks
Okay, yeah, you're right, okay.
so if I'm saying he's cute,
This
he's like, "Oh, she
so it's
thinks
gonna be a
Jeff's
love
cute."
letter then. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And it kind of is a love letter. It gets it gets that way because I
Yeah.
fall in love with Carlos throughout the story.
I got April.
So, he is ready, the class is ready. They do not know that Jeff was started out as Carlos. All they know is April's writing a story about herself, basically. So I begin my story. It's wild and not at all believable. In the end, I think Carlos falls out of a window and dies or
Oh
something.
my god, you
Okay.
killed him.
But it involves true snippets I gathered from my friends. So, like I said, I made him a
Mm.
roommate with my friend Scott. He lived in a sketchy part of town and Scott had actually discovered a body on the grounds of his apartment at one point.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Yes. And so, like I said, all these have real elements in it. So I
Yeah.
go on and I go on and so I'm dropping snippets in the Carlos about how we think he's cute and I'm really into him and stuff. And I look up at one point and McWhirter is just lit. He is eating this shit up. So in the end of the story, I go back to Carlos's apartment to ask him out because I'm in love with him.
Yeah,
And his wild
obviously.
roommate Scott
He's
answers the
dashing.
door.
Mhm.
Carlos isn't there. He's gone. He fell out of a window of their second story apartment and died, and Scott found the body, just like he found a body in real life. The room is silent. They did not
Wow.
know, but I had to kill Carlos Curie because I was tired of writing as him. So he's dead. He is not
Yeah.
brother is not coming
You
back. Okay.
so actually, looking back, you killed your alter ego. You killed your ego.
I
You had an
did.
ego death. That's actually a
Sorry,
thing.
Carlos. Oh, okay, we're gonna have to explore that. Um,
Yeah.
I killed him to get out of this assignment. So I end with my final reflection. And granted, the class all knows that I'm myself, so I kind of fell in
Mhm.
love with myself. I don't know.
Mhm.
How I realized that I
Hold
love
on.
Carlos deeply and that I would always keep his memory alive in me
Wow.
because a
Which is
part of
true.
me will always be Carlos Lee. And the class
Wow.
erupts in cheers and clapping and probably some laughing because they're like, she did it. And McWhirter still has
Wow.
no fucking clue.
No, because that's very vague and also, like, it's just so, like, lovely because 'cause you're like, "And he will live on in my memories,"
Yes, a
but
part
not
of me will
really
always
because
be
I'm actually killing him.
yes, this guy
Yeah.
I met twice in my life. And
Yeah.
and so the class is just roaring, but after it all dies down, he looks at me with question. He's like, "But who was it?"
Uh,
And I said it was me. He's like, "What?" I said, "It was me the whole time. I made up the email address, and I've been writing as Carlos Lee and myself ever since, and that's why a part of me will always be Carlos Lee." He was stunned.
Yeah, because he
He's like,
wanted you to say that it was Jeff, but it wasn't
"Yes,
Jeff, it was you, and so he was
I
just,
pulled
yeah,
the
stunned.
wool over your eyes, buddy." And he's like, "But you wrote so believably as a man." And I was like, "Yes, I did." He was
Aha.
so stunned, Carrie, that he
Oh my
ended
gosh.
class early. He never
Oh,
ended class early. He could not go on. There was more essays to be read, but he could not go on, so he ended class.
wow.
I had taken 3 classes with him, and the only other one that he ended early was on 9/11 because
Oh,
that
wow.
morning, the towers
Obvious.
as we were coming to class, the towers were hit. And so he turned on the
Wow.
TV and he let us watch, but he said, "If you need to go home, you can." But that was the only time he canceled or ended class early, that and the time Carlos Lee stunned the shit out of him.
Wow. Maybe in another time, we can have him on the show, your teacher, and ask
Oh
him
my gosh.
how
I
he
wonder
felt
if he
about this
still
whole thing.
remembers. I wonder
Oh
if he
my gosh. I if a student pranked me on my own prank, I
I know.
like, how do you come back from that? Like, that lives on in infamy. Like, that one move lives on forever.
So so I
Because
did get a 4
Carlos
point
Lee lives on in him now too,
forever. So
forever.
I should have gotten an 8 point because I did two classes
Yeah, yeah,
worth of
yeah.
work, but
Imagine your GPA after that.
I know. Um, but it was funny because all that happened so you followed the story, right, Carrie?
Mhm.
You weren't even there. Kids in my class, some of them were confused at the end. They're like, "Wait,
Mm.
how is Jeff Carlos?" And, we tried explaining, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't get it." So
Oh my
they just
gosh.
know that some crazy ass prank happened, and they followed it, they thought, but then they didn't. Um, so that is the story of how I played a man. But what was so impressive was when McWhirter just looked at me and said, "But you wrote so believably as a man." I was like, "I didn't think that was a challenge." But apparently it is. Maybe getting in the head of some I was like, "I know how dudes think. They don't think like girls." You know?
I mean, I
So
think when you have brother, you have a
mhm,
dad, like,
mhm.
you're close, enough to
Yeah,
both of them, like, if it wasn't for my brother and my husband, like, they and my dad, like, you observe things, you figure things out, you get it, like,
mhm. But
I
I
don't know.
think he liked that I got into the mind of, like, insecurities men would have or the ways they see
Mm,
their mother or some of the other stuff
mhm.
that I wrote, but it was just amazing, and maybe part of it was he thought Jeff was writing it this whole time, and so he wasn't thinking
Yeah. So
critically.
in his mind, he was thinking,
He's seeing a man
yeah.
submit this. But yeah, it was really cool. I went on to take a 3rd class with him called Ethics, and he ended up calling me the Angel of Ethics. So instead of being called Carlos Lee, I was Angel of Ethics because I have a strong moral ethical
You
stance.
do, I can see that. You have a very strong moral compass, so, like, yeah, I can see you. So he
So,
definitely admired you as a student enough to
yeah,
give
I
you a
think he enjoyed
nickname.
having me in class.
Wow. Except for
So
that time so the angel of ethics, except for that time you pretended to be a dude.
it was ethical. It was to teach
I
him a
mean, yeah.
lesson.
It was, yeah. I mean, that's ethical, right? That's so funny.
Oh,
So
but
what are your big takeaways from this? Like, you obviously enjoyed it, but were there lessons? Did you have a moment that changed you? Like, or was it just, like, straight up fun?
it was straight up fun, but it taught me that I can write because this guy was probably the most recognized writer I had ever encountered, and so for him to say that I was legit really meant a lot.
I think it's great because you brought such a golden joy to that class and so much probably inspiration for him because he probably has had so many college kids come in and write about, like, even the most inspired, right? But, like,
Mhm.
you set the bar so high for yourself and for, like, just the enjoyment of being a teacher. Like, he obviously saw what a gift you have and was able to, like, be excited about that too, you know? So that was like a double
Yeah,
gift for your personal enjoyment and then his.
and to amuse
Even though you
him.
tried to
Yeah,
get
because
him, I
I
think in the
wasn't
end you
sure
gave
what
him
he
a
was gonna
gift.
do,
Yeah, that's really cool, though. That's really
the
cool.
prankster
Mhm.
version.
What made him your favorite teacher? Was it that he was a rule breaker? That he made his own authority? Like, what do you think made your favorite teacher?
I think because well, I trusted him. So when he said something was good, I trusted him, and when he said something was poorly written, I trusted him, and so I liked that he could help me be a better writer. Like, he cared about us becoming better writers. He wasn't just there to grade papers. Like, he really wanted to
So it was
develop
the
us.
authenticity that you appreciated
I think so, yeah,
and the
and
love of writing,
and his
you could probably.
earnestness at the job. Yes.
Mm.
I felt like here was a professor who believed in what I could do, but didn't just tell me, "Oh, it's great," because creative writing class, like, "Oh, it's so great." I'm like, "You guys, tell us what could be better." Like, when you're 20, you don't write that great, okay?
Mhm.
You just don't. But he honestly look at them and say, "This could be better," or "Do this here and do that there." So it helped develop me as a person. And also, yeah, it was just a fun class because you got to know your classmates, and he was so delighted, like, I still have a coffee mug in my medicine cabinet from him that he made us all coffee mugs. I think it was our first class with him because he just was delighted in the stories we were telling, so he said we were the town of Clemville, and he made this whole saying, and he put this on a mug for us, a Michigan State mug, and it's like, "Where all the men
Wow.
are sensitive and the women kick ass."
Oh my
So,
gosh.
he just it's felt more personal,
Wow.
but
Well,
also
thank you
I
for this
liked him
story.
because I pulled his leg and he was okay with it.
Well, I appreciate that story. It definitely made me laugh, and it was totally a cliffhanger. I didn't expect that.
Thank you for listening to Finch and Sparrow podcast. We hope that you enjoyed our stories related to our lessons or just laughed along with us. We sincerely thank you for spending your time with us today. A special thanks to our friend Caitlin Vinci for letting us use her song We Rise. You can check out her full song and other tracks at CaitlinVincimusic.com. Follow along with us on our Instagram at Finch_N_Sparrow. There you can find out what we're up to, see what's inspiring us, and maybe what we're going to do next. See you next time.
Yes, you can be real and true, and it's all you allow yourself to do.